Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another trade recap video. So today was a pretty interesting day. I bought a funded account this morning, and I decided to try and pass it in one trade, which I did, as you can see right here, 53.8. I decided to enter a few positions here, but I just decided to hold it to the full TP because you have to follow your rules, right? But this is a little bit more unorthodox from the way I trade because I kept adding to my position, which is what makes profitable traders even more profitable is if you add to your positions, even if it's starting to go against you in some sort of way. But as long as you're adding in the right ways without it invalidating your setup, it's still fine, right? So make sure you guys like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully you guys had a great weekend. So without further ado, oh yeah, right here is where I passed it as well, 53.8. So we'll go ahead and get into this recap right here. And I also have the recap and also the profit from the trade debate inside my Discord. So go ahead and check that out. So let's go ahead and get into the recap real quick. Let me just move this out of the way. And let me open ES here so we could go and look on both charts. So what did we do coming into the morning? So let me go ahead and turn on my sessions here for you. So as you can see, Asia accumulated, right? London accumulated. Now notice how we are accumulating inside of this range, right? This is important, right? I want to see us break out of one of these levels first to then determine my bias, right? Because around here, I mean, you can kind of tell we're probably going to go to this high, especially if we're already in a discount and we're respecting, tons of different levels here. So let me go and remove this. So what happened was I wasn't looking at anything in Asia or London, by the way. I wanted to wait for New York to see what it would do. So we end up coming above this high over here. So this was the previous day's high. If you look on the daily, you can see that we swept out the previous day's high. Okay. Now, why was this such a prominent move? Why did we end up dumping a decent amount on a Monday? Well, I'll explain that right now. If you look to the left over here on ES, you'll see that we're actually inside of this big volume imbalance right here. So this is this is basically a key level. So we sweep a high inside of a key level, okay? If you go to the 4 hours, well, you'll see that NQ has an order block right here. So, right, this is your order block on NQ. We come up and we respect it. So we sweep out a high inside of a key level. We don't have any SMTs, but still it's a high time frame liquidity level and a high time frame key level, right? Liquidity, key level. So it's almost guaranteed that price is going to end up dropping lower, especially if the order flow lines up with it on the lower time frame, okay? So after I saw this buy side level getting swept inside of that PD array, okay, I was just waiting for more confirmation, right? I wanted to see if the bearish confirmations were actually going to hold. So if you can see right here, we have a 15-minute gap right here at 8:30. I wanted to see price displace through it and close below it, okay? We also had a 5-minute fair value gap right here, as you can see, from this high here at 9:45 down to this 9:35 low. So we had a gap there. We ended up inversing that gap, and we also created what? A change in the state of delivery right there on the 5-minute. We also created a change in the state of delivery on the 15-minute right here. Now, it's the same, in my opinion, because at the same time we close through this 5-minute gap, or in this case, inverse this 5-minute gap, and closed at 10, we also closed and created the 15-minute CISD at 10 a.m. too. Right, because this 15-minute candle closed at 9:45, and then the next candle opens here at 10. So it pretty much closed below, and we came up and we retested that 5-minute inversion right here. But I decided to start my position at this 5-minute gap, and then I decided to average into my position. So the first entry was, so first of all, the confirmation was off this 5/15-minute CISD. And the entry was on the 5-minute. So I waited for the CISD on the 5 and the 15, and then I got in on the 5-minute gap. Now, I did not want to see price come back and reclaim this new week opening gap right here. If we came back up on this candle at 10:20 and closed above, we would probably use that as support, boom, and then trade higher back to the AM buy side. But even though we swept all these sell side levels prior to taking these lows down here, I still wanted lower price unless, like I said, this gap got inversed, which it barely didn't, and or we, reclaim this end dog to use that as support to trade higher. So my second entry on this was this first presented gap right here. So I marked it out in the morning. We ended up inversing it, taking out the buy side liquidity, and then we reclaimed it again. And at this point, if we're bearish, I want to see price trade up into it and not displace through it again. So what happened was we ended up trading up through it again, right? We're just kind of chopping a lot here. We ended up coming down a little bit more here, and we got this big displacement candle at 1024. I entered again at around right here as it was going back up because it was pretty much close to that fair value gap. And then the next ad was on this CISD right here. So we created the CISD and then I entered on the retest of it right there. And my stop loss was still above the NWOG and the 930 open because why? I wasn't expecting price to close above 930. It could retest it, hence why I had my stop loss above the 930 and the NDOG. But I wasn't expecting price to come all the way over here because everything was balanced from this point down. So it was a little bit of a sloppy delivery this morning, but still it was a good trade. It ended up hitting the TP, and you can see we're still flushing. I do believe we'll probably end up making it down to previous day's low, depending on how ES hits it. If it hits it first, or if NQ hits it first, I don't know. We'll see. But this was the trade. It's a little tricky today, but sometimes as you get better as a trader, you just have to add to your winning positions. Even if it starts to go against you in some cases, add to it, bro. Because this was just a stop out of these highs. People were probably short here in this area of accumulation, right? It was generating buy side for it to get ran, which technically is your soup. This move up is your soup, right? I entered a little bit earlier than I probably should have on the ad, but you know, it is what it is. It still ended up working out at the end of the day. But yeah, these are the buy stops. It runs up, it manipulates higher, right? And then trades lower, right? This is an accumulation range. The same way we accumulated here, manipulated higher and distributed lower is the same thing here. We accumulate, right? We trade, manipulate higher, and then flush down one more time. Because it's Monday and it's horrible price action, it's going to chop around and do stupid stuff, but it's still going to respect PD raise if it's actually going to go lower. Respect bearish PD raise, excuse me. So that's what you expect with a no news Monday. If it was a news Monday, you could probably expect a little bit more of clean delivery, but today it just didn't happen. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I hope this week is going to be great. I will stay in tune with you guys with the recaps, and hopefully this week ends off well. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you want to DM me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I prefer Instagram. If you have any questions, I'm open to answer them. And yeah, also join the Discord community. It's free, and it probably won't be free for that much longer. But yeah, that's all I got, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the next trade recap. Peace.